Ministerial, you're watching DD India News, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana, coming up in the next hour. Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo stall without progress as Hamas rejects new Israeli conditions. US says it will continue to work to avert escalation after Israel-Hezbollah missile exchange. Ukraine claims Belarus concentrating personal weaponry along Ukrainian border, calls on Minsk to pull back forces from the border. The second round of India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable to begin in Singapore. Various aspects of strategic partnership and issues of mutual interest will be discussed at the meeting. And India's western state of Gujarat braces for the worst as heavy rainfall floods low-lying areas in parts of state. Heavy to very heavy rain forecast until Tuesday prompts red alert. And Janmashtami, the birthday of Lord Krishna, is being celebrated with religious fervour. President of India Draupadi Murmu extends greetings on the auspicious occasion. And on to the details now. The efforts to bring peace in West Asia have failed yet again. In Cairo, ceasefire talks between Israel and Hamas ended without any agreement on Sunday, casting doubt on the chances of success in the latest US-led effort to end the 10-month-old conflict, also backed by Egypt and Qatar. Neither the terrorist group Hamas nor Israel agreed to several compromises presented by the mediators, though talks were described as constructive and conducted in a spirit on all sides to reach a final and implementable agreement. The talks will still continue over the coming days through working groups to further address remaining issues and details. Key sticking points in ongoing talks include an Israeli presence in the Philadelphia corridor, which is a narrow 14.5-kilometer long stretch of land along Gaza's southern border with Egypt. Israel wants to permanently control the Philadelphia corridor, which it seized after October 7th attack. Hamas is sticking to a July 2nd Gaza ceasefire proposal while rejecting new Israeli conditions for a ceasefire. Hamas reiterated its demand that any agreement must stipulate a permanent ceasefire and a full Israeli withdrawal from Gaza. And in one of the biggest clashes in more than 10 months of border warfare, Lebanon-based group Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones on Sunday morning. Israel's military responded and struck targets in Lebanon with around 100 fighter jets to thwart a bigger attack. Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said that strikes against Hezbollah are not the end of the story.
In major escalation in Middle East, Lebanon-based group Hezbollah launched hundreds of rockets and drones at Israel early on Sunday, while Israel launched strikes in Lebanon. Missiles were visible curling up through the dawn sky as an air raid siren sounded in Israel and a distant blast lit the horizon. Hezbollah said it had fired 320 Katyusha rockets towards Israel and hit 11 military targets, while Israel's military said it struck Lebanon with around 100 jets to thwart a bigger attack.
Most of our activity at the moment is in southern Lebanon, but we will attack anywhere in Lebanon where there is a threat to the state of Israel.
Footage released by Israel's defense ministry showed Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu watching on as Israeli jets launched strikes in Lebanon early on Sunday. Netanyahu said that military intercepted all the drones that Hezbollah launched at a strategic target in central Israel. Netanyahu also said that Israel would take all measures necessary to defend itself.
What happened today is not the end of the story. Hezbollah tried to attack the state of Israel with rockets and drones early in the morning. We instructed the IDF to carry out a powerful preemptive strike to remove the threat. The IDF destroyed thousands of short-range rockets. All of them were intended to harm our citizens and our forces in the Galilee. In addition, the IDF intercepted all the UAVs that Hezbollah launched at a strategic target in the center of the country.
Israel's army also released video, it said, showed its chief of staff, Herzi Halevi, overseeing military operations from an underground operations center in Tel Aviv on Sunday. On the other hand, in Lebanon, cabinet ministers and officials held a session of the National Emergency Committee in Beirut at caretaker Prime Minister Najib Mikati's house. Lebanon's caretaker economy minister Amin Salam said that the situation now relied on outcome of Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo. Expectations of an escalation between the two sides had risen since a missile strike in the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights last month, and Israeli military assassinated Shukr in Beirut in response. Latest escalation between Hezbollah and Israel caused delay of flights in the region. Departing flights at Israel's Ben Gurion airport were delayed on Sunday morning, stranding worried travelers amidst ongoing rocket barrages being fired by Hezbollah. While travelers at Beirut Rafik Hariri Airport found themselves stranded on Sunday as some flights were cancelled. Air France too has cancelled its flights to Tel Aviv and Beirut until at least Monday. Israel's biggest municipality shut down its Mediterranean beaches as tourists and local residents said they were taking precautions in the wake of evolving situation in the region. Sunday's strikes came as negotiators were meeting in Cairo in a last-ditch effort to conclude a halt to the fighting in Gaza. Fuzail Ahmed reporting for DD India.
Well, White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said the U.S. is working to avert an escalation of conflict in the Middle East following a recent exchange of strikes between Israel and Hezbollah. He was speaking at a news conference in Halifax in Canada.
We have been concerned about the conflict escalating into an all-out regional war since October 7th, and we have worked round the clock with partners and allies, moving military assets, engaging in intensive diplomacy, both publicly and privately behind the scenes, to avert that outcome. We continue to work to avert that outcome. And our hope is that the events of last night do not spill out into an escalation that leads to regional war.
Well, Sullivan further said that U.S. has remained in contact with its Israeli counterparts to share how the U.S. sees the situation and said United States is still working in Cairo towards reaching a ceasefire deal in Gaza.
What I believe now is that it is incumbent on all parties in the region to work towards de-escalation and stability. And so we are feverishly working in Cairo as we speak with our team and the teams of the other mediators, as well as with the Israelis, to get to a ceasefire and hostage deal along the framework that President Biden laid out, to get calm between Israel and along that border between Israel and Lebanon, and ultimately to get to a broader circumstance of regional stability. And of course, we think that a part of that is a credible path to a two-state solution for the Palestinian people as well.
Well, Israel's military on Sunday said that polio vaccines for more than 1 million people had been delivered to Gaza. The vaccines were delivered after the first confirmed case of the disease reported in the region. Aid groups plan to vaccinate more than 600,000 children under age 10 and have called for an urgent pause in the conflict to increase vaccinations. The World Health Organization and the United Nations Children's Agency have said that at a minimum, a 7-day pause is needed. And updates on Ukraine-Russia conflict now. Ukraine has alleged that Belarus armed forces are concentrating a significant number of personnel and weaponry along Ukrainian northern border under the guise of exercises. Ukraine's foreign ministry said Minsk is concentrating special operation forces as well as weaponry including tanks, artillery, multiple launch rocket systems and air defense systems near the Belarusian city of Gomel. The city lies within about 30 kilometers of the Belarus-Ukraine border. Further, Kyiv called on to Minsk to immediately withdraw forces away from Ukraine's border. As per Kyiv Independent, the Belarusian army is not currently directly involved in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said the Kyiv forces have made small advances into Russia's Kursk region. In his evening address on Sunday, Zelensky said that Ukraine's forces advanced up to 3 kilometers towards Kursk, taking control of 2 more settlements there.
I have just spoken with Commander-in-Chief Alexander Sirski, and there is an advance of our troops in the Kirkuk region. From 1 to 3 kilometers, 2 more settlements were taken under control. Active actions are underway in 1 more settlement.
Well, Ukraine says Russia launched several missiles and drones overnight targeting parts of northern and eastern Ukraine. Russia says it continues to fight against the Ukrainian incursion of its Kursk region, while at least 6 civilians got killed in Ukrainian attacks in Russia's Belgorod region. All that as Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said he would support India hosting the second summit on peace, as Kyiv hopes to find a host among the countries in the global south. DD India's Dasha Chernyshova has more from Moscow on this.
Russia says it continues to strike the Ukrainian military in its Kursk region as well as in Ukraine's border areas. The MOD reported on Sunday that it repelled the Ukrainian attacks on the direction of Komarovka, Malaya Lokhny, Nechayev and Cherkasskaya Porechny in the Kursk region. It also continues the reconnaissance and search operations to identify and destroy Ukrainian groups in the area. Meanwhile, the Russian troops struck Ukraine's military and manpower in the Sumy region. The MOD says Ukraine lost 300 troops in the Kursk region over the past 24 hours, bringing the total number of the military casualties over 5,800. The head of Chechnya, Ramzan Kadyrov, said that the fighters of the Akhmat Chechnya regiment evacuated 51 conscripts from the combat zone in the village of Ulan in the Kursk region. The defense ministry also said that it sent reinforcements to the Kursk grouping of troops. Meanwhile, more than 340 people were evacuated from the 5 districts of the Kursk region to safe territories, according to the Russian Emergencies Ministry. In neighboring Belgorod region, a man died as a result of a Ukrainian drone attack, and 5 others got killed in another attack on the village of Rakitne. Russia also says that it struck the temporary deployment positions of foreign mercenaries in Ukraine. Dasha Chernyshova in Moscow, reporting for DD India.
Well, Ryan Evans, a member of the Reuters team covering the Russia-Ukraine, was killed in a strike on a hotel in the eastern Ukrainian city of Kramatorsk. Evans was killed after a missile struck the hotel where he was staying as part of a 6-person team. 2 Reuters journalists were also injured in the strike. One of the journalists was seriously injured. The 38-year-old Evans was a former British soldier and had been working as a safety advisor with Reuters since 2022. And members of the Mexican judiciary and the civil society marched to protest against a controversial judicial reform proposed by outgoing President Andrés Manuel López Obrador on Sunday. Protesters gathered in downtown Mexico City with flags, signs and chants accusing the president of intending to erase independence from the justice system. Opponents of the reform said the election of judges would end merit-based career paths and make the judiciary even more vulnerable to outside influence. And still to come in DD India News Up. Following a clash in disputed waters, Philippines Defense Secretary has said that China's actions in the South China Sea are patently illegal. In Bangladesh, Professor Muhammad Yunus ascertains that holding a general election is a matter of political and public decision. And Paris celebrates the 80th anniversary of its liberation as the French Air Force aerobatic display team flew over the capital.
Welcome to Jaipur.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lipakshi Khuranan. Moving on, the Philippines Defense Secretary has said that China's actions in the South China Sea are patently illegal, following a clash in disputed waters on Sunday over what Manila said was a resupply mission for fishermen. Manila's South China Sea Task Force accused Chinese vessels of ramming and using water cannons near Sabina Shoal against a Philippine fisheries vessel transporting food, fuel and medicine for Filipino fishermen. The Chinese Coast Guard said the Philippine vessel ignored repeated serious warnings and deliberately approached and rammed China's law enforcement boat, resulting in a collision. A North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, watched as new suicide drones took off and destroyed test targets, including a mock tank, and urged researchers to develop artificial intelligence for the unmanned vehicles. On Saturday, Kim visited the Drone Institute of North Korea's Academy of Defense Sciences and viewed a successful test of drones correctly identifying and destroying designated targets after flying along different preset routes. Kim called for the production of more suicide drones to be used in tactical infantry and special operation units such as underwater suicide attack drones, as well as strategic reconnaissance and multi-purpose attack drones. Kim also called for more tests of the drones combat application to equip North Korean military with them as early as possible. Kim also inspected the construction sites of various North Korean industrial factories on Saturday and Sunday. And South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff said on Monday that they are ready for any provocations by North Korea and monitoring its military activities, including the suicide drone test watched by Kim Jong-un. South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff added that more analysis is necessary on suicide drones tested by Pyongyang.
한미 정보당국은
Let me emphasize once again that if North Korea provokes, we will punish in overwhelming and firm manners in accordance with the principles of punish immediately and powerfully until the end. We understand that some gifts were given in an exchange between North Korea and Russia in the past. We need to analyze various measures to see if those have improved performance.
그런 걸로 저희가 알고 있습니다.
And in updates from Bangladesh, the head of interim government of Bangladesh, Professor Mohammad Yunus, said that the timing of holding a general election is a matter of political decision, and people of Bangladesh will decide how long this interim government will remain in power. In a televised address to the nation on Bangladesh television, Professor Yunus said that a free, fair and participatory election will be held in the country after necessary reforms to administration, judiciary, the election commission, electoral system and law order sector. He said that the main aim of the election was to introduce an accountable political system against corruption, looting and mass killing. Speaking on foreign affairs, he said Bangladesh will maintain friendly relations with all countries. Early on Sunday morning, Bangladesh Nationalist Party Secretary General Mirza Fakhrul Islam Alamgir asked for a clear roadmap from the interim government for conducting national elections as soon as possible after necessary reforms through consultations with political parties. And meanwhile, at least 30 people were injured when clashes broke out between students and protesting Ansar personnel near the Central Secretariat in Dhaka on Sunday night. The clash started after 9 p.m. following reports that key figures from the anti-discrimination student movement, including Sarjis Alam and Hasnat Abdullah, are under siege at the Secretariat. As the news spread, students from several halls of Dhaka University gathered and marched towards the Secretariat area, demanding the release of the coordinators. Early on Sunday afternoon, a paramilitary auxiliary force, Bangladesh Ansar personnel, had blockaded the Secretariat complex, preventing any entry or exit for indefinite time, demanding the nationalization of their jobs. And in Sri Lanka, as the presidential elections approach, details regarding postal ballot have been shared by the Election Commission. The Commission announced that the postal vote ballot papers will be delivered to the post offices on Monday. Chairman of the Election Commission stated that the printing of the postal ballot papers is nearing completion. The postal voting for the presidential election is scheduled for September 4th, 5th and 6th. The Election Commission also noted that government employees who are unable to cast their votes by post on those dates will be be able to vote at district secretariat offices on September 11th and 12th. This year, over 7 lakh government employees are eligible for postal voting. And the youth organization of the far-right political party Alternative for Germany staged a protest in Solingen following the arrest of a Syrian man suspected of the stabbing attack. German prosecutors identified the 26-year-old Syrian man as a member of Islamic State. The suspect turned himself in and admitted to the crime. The attack occurred during a festival on Friday evening in the Fraunhof that left 3 people dead and 8 injured. The incident has sparked concern among some politicians who urged enhanced security, tighter curbs and weapons, stiffer punishment for violent crimes and limits to immigration. Meanwhile, over 4,000 people joined a protest against the far right in Erfurt, Germany on Sunday. With state elections in the state, protesters fear a landslide victory of the far right Alternative for Germany, who is leading in the polls. And today is the beginning of a new era in the lives of Australian people. If they are employed somewhere, either in public or in private sector, they will enjoy the right to disconnect from their boss's work-related communication after their duty hours. It's part of Australian labour laws from Monday that the employees cannot be forced to be connected with the office and no boss can demand a response beyond their duty hours. An act legitimising this right was passed by Australian Parliament in February and it has come in force now. According to this law, the workers are not required to respond to emails or phones if they are off from office or at vacation. The law is intended to create a work-life balance. Many European nations, including France and Germany, already have such laws. While the employees are generally happy, the employers and market analysts are skeptic about the impact of this law on work culture.
I think it's an excellent idea. I hope it catches on. I doubt it'll catch on in our industry, to tell the truth, though.
Why not?
Well, you know, we are professionals. We're well paid. We're expected to deliver, and we feel we have to deliver 24 hours a day if we have to. So the phone's always on, the computer's always on, and we're working.
Well, I think it'll take a bit of bedding down, this reform. Some people may, mistakenly believe that they can just kind of shut down and not respond to work communications now. Some employers may be a bit worried that it is a blanket ban on all communications outside work. So it'll take a bit of getting used to and working out how to put it in place in different workplaces.
And Africa will receive its first batch of Mpox vaccines this week. The continent has faced significant delays in receiving vaccines. An Mpox outbreak surged to global attention as the World Health Organization and the African Centers for Disease Control and Prevention declared it a public health emergency. Leon Sianj reports for more.
10,000 vaccines will be used to tackle a dangerous Clade 1B, a new variant of Mpox. The vaccines were donated by the United States. Nigeria and the Democratic Republic of Congo will be the first African countries to receive the vaccines after they granted regulatory approval. International agencies have come under fire for failure to provide the continent with the Mpox vaccines, which have already been distributed to over 70 countries outside Africa. The recent Mpox outbreak was declared a global health emergency after the new variant began to spread from the Democratic Republic of Congo into neighboring African countries. Since January, the Democratic Republic of Congo has reported over 27,000 suspected cases and 1,100 deaths, mostly among children. Leon Senyange reporting from Kampala, Uganda for DT India.
Well, people turn to social media and streaming services to escape into another world during the COVID-19 pandemic. And after the pandemic ended, a new scenario, set jetting, began in terms of tourism. More in this report.
Hollywood movies have attracted tourists to the famous Los Angeles suburb. Various studios and their expensive shooting locales have long sustained a continuous stream of curious visitors to shoot locations. Other locations like Britain are now catching up. Britain has hopped on to a new trend, set jetting. Well, the term set jetting is not a new concept. However, it has taken on a newfound resonance since the COVID-19 pandemic.
Britain is really attractive for screen tourism because of the sheer volume of productions that are shot here, and our latest research shows that I think it's around 91% of international visitors want to come to Britain and see something that they've seen on film or TV, which is huge.
If I want to see any sets of TV shows, I really have to come, on a 17-hour flight to the other side of the world. So I would say that it's really interesting that people do go and do that. Didn't really know it was super popular, but I can see why now after going on the tour, why people want to visit all the filming locations.
In Britain, the set jetting trend has boosted tourism like never before. Enduring franchises like James Bond and Harry Potter attract millions of visitors for years. Now, more recent productions such as Game of Thrones in Northern Ireland, Outlander in Scotland, and more recently The Crown, as well as Bridgerton in England, have sustained the momentum for a while.
We're going to take them around on a really nice relaxed walking tour. We've all got these little headphones, so we're going to listen to some music from the show and from the unofficial musical, and a bit of famous music from around Bath as well.
Tourists from all over the world are flocking to the United Kingdom to get a taste of their favorite shows with a visit to iconic filming locations like Bath, where the hit Netflix show Bridgerton is filmed. Walking tours are being provided by guides who say while the city has always been popular, they've seen a definite uptick in set visits. Antara Sinha for DD India.
And the Indian Navy's warship INS Mumbai arrived in Colombo for a 3-day visit on Monday. The Sri Lanka Navy ceremonially received the ship. During its stay, INS Mumbai will deliver essential spare parts for the Dornier maritime patrol aircraft operated by the Sri Lankan Air Force. Along with this, INS Mumbai will also conduct joint activities with the Sri Lankan Navy, including sports events and yoga sessions. INS Mumbai is the third of the Delhi-class destroyers and commissioned on January 2001. And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. The Mongolian Horse Super League opened in the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region over the weekend, drawing over 240 competitors and hundreds of Mongolian horses in multiple racing. The 2-day event featured 5 competitions: an endurance race, a relay race, an archery competition, a Hada pickup race, and traditional horse racing. In the Netherlands, thousands of people gathered to celebrate their red hair at the annual Red Hair Days festival in the southern town of Tilburg. More than 10,000 people from over a half-dozen countries attended the 3-day festival, signing up for photo shoots and a variety of workshops. The event in 2013 set a Guinness World Record for the largest gathering of people with natural red hair. Pétrole de France, the French Air Force aerobatic display team, flew over the capital Paris to mark the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Paris. Their precision maneuvers left a trail of tricolour smoke across the sky, creating a patriotic and visually stunning display. With this, the 5-day-long celebrations came to a close. Hundreds of people took to the streets of West London for the Notting Hill Carnival. The annual carnival attracts hundreds of thousands of revelers each year who pack the streets of West London for 2 days during one of the world's biggest celebrations of Caribbean music and culture. This year, the festivities took place on August 25th and 26th. And still to come in DD India News Hour. Brazil's foreign minister to co-chair 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meet in India to further strengthen the strategic partnership between the two countries. Ahead of upcoming assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir, PM attended BJP's Central Election Committee meeting in New Delhi. And world-renowned sand sculptor Doordarshan created a beautiful sand art with a message of kill the evil on Janmashtami. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News. I'm Lepakshi Kuran, and time now for a quick recap of the headlines. Gaza ceasefire talks in Cairo stall without progress as Hamas rejects new Israeli conditions. US says it will continue to work to avert escalation after Israel-Hezbollah missile exchange. Ukraine claims Belarus concentrating personnel, weaponry along Ukrainian border, calls on Minsk to pull back forces from border. The second round of India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable to begin in Singapore. Various aspects of strategic partnership and issues of mutual interest will be discussed at the meeting. India's western state of Gujarat braces for the worst as heavy rainfall floods low-lying areas in parts of the state. Heavy to very heavy rain forecast until Tuesday prompts red alert. And Janmashtami, the birthday of Lord Krishna, is being celebrated with religious fervour. President of India, Vice President PM Modi extended greetings on the auspicious occasion. And moving on, the second round of the India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable will take place in Singapore today. The Indian ministers participating in the event will include Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Shankar, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal and Railway Minister Ashwani Vaishnaw. The ministers will interact with their counterparts and will also call on Singaporean leadership. The India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable is a unique mechanism established to set a new agenda for India-Singapore bilateral relations. Meeting aims to enable both sides to review various aspects of their strategic partnership and identify new avenues to further elevate and broaden it. And India's Minister for Commerce and Industry Piyush Goyal met with CEOs of various Singaporean companies on Monday. On social media platform X, Piyush Goyal said discussions centered around how these stakeholders having significant investments in India can grow further while contributing to the journey of achieving Viksit Bharat, that is developed India by 2047. And India's Laura Westbrook joins us for more on this from Hong Kong. Well, Laura, this will be the second India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable, which is a unique mechanism established to set up a new agenda for India-Singapore bilateral relations. They will discuss and elevate bilateral cooperation and exchange views on issues of mutual interest. What all is particularly lined up for the dialogue today?
Yes, Singapore's Deputy Prime Minister, Gan Kim Yong, is leading Singapore's delegation. As you mentioned, there are top ministers from India attending this meeting in Singapore. This is the second meeting that's taking place. The first took place in September 2022. And this meeting, it really focuses on trade and the economic relationship between these two countries. And it will look to review the progress that has been made since that first meeting in 2022 and look at new areas of collaboration that these India and Singapore can work on. This includes sustainability, investment, trade, as well as skills and digitalization. Now, on Sunday, India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal did meet with Singapore's business leaders, including from Singapore's bank, the DBS Bank, and Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, Temasek. And he did say on the platform X that this was a very fruitful meeting, and there was also a statement from the Ministry of Commerce saying that the meeting focused on investment opportunities, particularly in growing investment in the small and medium-sized business sector. And when it comes to Singapore's sovereign wealth fund, it earlier said earlier last month that it previously plans to invest up to $10 billion in India over the next 3 years. It has said also that it is looking to do that as it becomes more cautious when it comes to China amid economic and geopolitical tensions there.
All right. Also, Singapore, if we talk about, is also a major source of foreign direct investment or FDI for India. And the cumulative FDI inflow from Singapore to India is quite high. Any inputs on that?
Yes, that's right. And we, Singapore is, Singapore is India's top foreign investor. And India is also growing investment in Singapore as well. We did hear from Singapore's president earlier last month, who said that he wants to see Singapore and India growing their wealth and breadth of investment opportunities in the coming years. And there will also be a lunch that's hosted by Singapore's deputy Prime Minister, and there will also be a dinner as well. So you are seeing these two countries looking to grow their business and investment opportunities. And the first ministerial roundtable that took place in September 2022, that looked at 5 areas of collaboration. They included digitalization, green energy projects, skills and development, and healthcare. And since then, we have seen a digital payments link between these two countries, allowing banks to send and receive funds. And there's also been opportunities for Indian students to study and have internships in Singapore. And we've also seen reports in the past week that Singapore Airlines Group, the low-cost carrier Scoot, is saying that it would like to expand its links to second and third tier cities in India. If the airports get built, it would like to see air transport agreements between Singapore and India increase. And that also is trying to tap into this burgeoning middle class in India that is traveling at this sort of huge rate that we've seen in recent years. And that also is another sign that the links between these Singapore and India are looking to grow in the next few years.
All right, lots of it lined up for the ISMR during these days. Thank you so much for all that information from Hong Kong. And moving on, Foreign Affairs Minister of Brazil, Mauro Vieira, arrived in New Delhi on Sunday on a 4-day visit to India. India's External Affairs Minister, Dr. S. Shankar, and his Brazilian counterpart will co-chair the 9th India-Brazil Joint Commission meeting. The meeting, scheduled for Tuesday, aims to further strengthen the strategic partnership between the two nations. The ministers will also discuss how the two countries as Troika can advance key G20 outcomes from the Indian presidency last year. Brazilian Foreign Minister's visit will provide an opportunity to further strengthen the strategic partnership established in 2006 and explore new avenues of cooperation in bilateral, regional and multilateral arenas across diverse sectors. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi attended the meeting of the BJP Central Election Committee at party headquarters in New Delhi. The meeting was held ahead of upcoming assembly elections in Jammu and Kashmir. Besides Prime Minister, other BJP leaders who attended the meet included BJP President Jagat Prakash Nadda, Union Ministers Amit Shah and Jitendra Singh, and other senior leaders of the party. And moving on, the Weather Department has predicted a heavy to very heavy rain in several areas of the state of Gujarat until Tuesday. Amid heavy rainfall over the past 2 days, parts of Gujarat have been inundated, displacing hundreds of affected residents to safer locations. Navsari district faced severe flooding, prompting the Indian Weather Department to issue a red alert for the district. The water level of the Purna and Kaveri rivers is above the danger level. As a precautionary measure, more than 100 people have been shifted to safer locations. And India's Parth Pandya joins us from Ahmedabad for more. Well, Parth, red alert has been issued for the state. What's the situation there right now?
Yes, Lepakshi, red alert is there, and as you have seen that southern Gujarat region is receiving a good amount of rain. Not only southern Gujarat, but since couple of days, all over Gujarat there is a good amount of rain. Especially due to the two reasons. The one is the cyclonic circulation over the northwestern Madhya Pradesh and the Rajasthan region. It is attracting the moisture-led air from the Arabian Sea, and another is offshore trough. If I talk about the last 24 hours, it was very critical for the southern Gujarat region, especially for the Navsari and Valsad. In Navsari and Valsad, there are many NDRF and SDRF teams have been deployed because of the flood-like situation created yesterday. More than 600 people were lifted from the low-lying areas to a safer place. So it was all about yesterday. today also the red alert situation has been issued, prediction has been issued by the IMD, especially in the regions of Saurashtra, that is Amreli, Bhavnagar, and in the regions of southern Gujarat, that is Navsari, Valsad, Surat, Tapi, etc. If we talk about the reservoir capacity, the lifeline of the Gujarat, that is the Sardar Sarovar Dam, is almost, it is 135 meter full. The total capacity of it is 138 meters only. So, yes, we can say it is 99% full. The Ukai Dam, that is on the Tapi River, is almost full. Yes, as you can see, it is raining right now also. In Ahmedabad, in the last 24 hours, almost 65% road has been flooded due to the rainwater. Upcoming days are critical because IMD has issued a high alert-like situation till the 30th of August. So these 4 to 5 days are very critical for the Gujarat. Yesterday, the Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel also held a critical meeting with the various departments and reviewed the flood-like situation in the southern Gujarat region. And yes, the administration is ready for anything happening right now. And the situation of rain is critical, as you can see, Lepakshi.
Right. So the situation is very critical. We can see that part. But what are the rescue efforts? What are the problems being faced by the people there?
Yes, this morning only in the Morbi, a village is there. There were 17 people was drowned in the causeway. That causeway was drowned and they were traveling through a tractor. They all got drowned. 10 people has been rescued. Right now, 7 are going to be finding by the NDRF and SPRF team. In the region of the Morbi, that is in the Saurashtra, in another region, that is the southern Gujarat, Navsari, there are 2 rivers which are on the flood-like situation, which are running heavily through the water. So there is also review situations going on by the NDRF and SPRF team. Yesterday, as I mentioned, 600 people was rescued taken from the lower part to the upper part of the areas. Today also, there are possibilities that tons of people are going to be rescued because of the flood-like situation in the southern Gujarat region. Yes, Lepakshi.
All right, Par, thank you so much for all that information from there.
Yeah. Thank you.
And moving on, India's Defence Minister Rajnath Singh has concluded his 4-day US tour. He visited the National Civil Rights Museum and interacted with the Indian community in Memphis, Tennessee on Sunday. The National Civil Rights Museum traces the history of the civil rights movement in the US from the 17th century to the present and is built around the site of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in 1968. It also has a bust of Mahatma Gandhi, acknowledging his inspiration for non-violent struggle. Interacting with Indian diaspora from Memphis, Atlanta, Nashville and other nearby areas, Rajnath Singh lauded the achievements of the community members and their contribution to society, science and economy. He described them as a living bridge between India and US, fostering close relations with and goodwill. And Janmashtami, the birthday celebration of Lord Krishna, is being celebrated with religious fervour and gaiety across the world. Temples across the country decked up as devotees are flocking to the well-decorated temples to celebrate the festival of joy. It is believed that Lord Krishna, the 8th incarnation of Lord Vishnu, was born on the 8th day of the dark fortnight in the month of Bhadrapad as per the Hindu calendar. The day holds deep spiritual significance for the devotees world over. The festival is not just a time for celebration, but also for reflection and remembering Lord Krishna's timeless teachings. Devotees celebrate it by chanting Krishna's name, singing devotional songs and reading his teachings in the holy Bhagavad Gita. Janmashtami is a reminder of Lord Krishna's teachings, emphasizing the importance of righteousness, duty, love and devotion in one's life and the victory of good over evil. All right, President of India Draupadi Murmu, also Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar and Prime Minister Narendra Modi extended greetings and best wishes to all the citizens living in the country and abroad on the auspicious occasion of Janmashtami. And now let's take a look at other stories making news today. Indian government approved the Bio-E3 policy, biotechnology for economy, environment and employment. It is aimed at fostering high-performance biomanufacturing. The policy is designed to supplement traditional supply methods with biotechnological solutions. The Indian government is gearing up to host the inaugural World Audiovisual Entertainment Summit, WAVES, from 20th of November to 25th of November this year. The summit aims to bolster India's media and entertainment industry and extend its global influence. The second round of the Dirt Bike Championship was held in the western Indian city of Doordarshan on Sunday. Best riders in the country showcased their skills during the event. Devotees of Hindu god Ganesha were seen carrying newly sculpted idols from workshop through the streets of central Mumbai ahead of Hindu religious festival Ganesh Chaturthi. This 10-day-long celebration will begin on September 7th this year. And still to come on DD India News Hour. We'll tell you all about Asian markets as its shares edge up before inflation test. Oil gains too. In sports, Sweden's Mondo Duplantis breaks the pole vault world record for the 10th time. And 2024 Paralympic Games torch reaches France via Channel Tunnel. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. And moving on, Asian shares crept consciously higher on Monday while oil prices climbed 0.7% after Israel and Hezbollah traded rocket salvos and air strikes on Sunday, stirring worries about possible supply disruptions if the conflict escalated. MSCI's broadest index of Asia Pacific shares outside Japan added 0.4% after rising 1.1% last week, while South Korea rose 0.3%. Japan's Nikkei eased 0.7% as a stronger yen pressured exporter stocks. Brent rose 51 cents to $79.53 a barrel, while U.S. crude added 50 cents to $75.33 per barrel. And India's Central Bank Governor Shaktikant Das addressed the Global Conference on Digital Public Infrastructure and Emerging Technologies on Monday. He emphasized on how DPI was mentioned in the final report of the G20 hosted by India, saying that it accelerated the acceptance of DPI.
DPI, that is Digital Public Infrastructure, offers a path to effectively manage critical national infrastructure also. In times of crisis, as during the COVID-19 pandemic, India and a few other countries were able to leverage digital infrastructure for vaccination programs and targeted transfer payments. The final report of India's G20 Task Force on Digital Public Infrastructure was released on July 15 this year, which has, among other things, contributed to accelerate the acceptance of the definition and framework of DPI.
Well, you're watching DD India News. Our time now for some sports news. Sweden's Mondo Duplantis once again broke his own pole vault world record as he cleared 6.26 meters at the second attempt at the Silesia Diamond League meeting on Sunday. Duplantis broke the world record for the 10th time, beating the 6.25 meters he cleared when retaining his Olympic gold medal in Paris earlier this month. Also, this was the third time this year he had broken his own record. Meanwhile, the crowd had already witnessed Norwegian Jakob Ingebrigtsen shatter the long-standing 3,000 meters world record with a time of 7 minutes, 17.55 seconds to beat the record set by Kenya's Daniel Komen in 1996. The 23-year-old was in shock when he crossed the line and looked at his time. And the 2024 Paralympic Games torch reached France via the Channel Tunnel on Sunday. The torch relay began earlier on Saturday in Stoke Mandeville in England, where the event was first imagined by neurologist Ludwig Guttmann in 1948. On Sunday, British athletes carried the torch midway through the Channel Tunnel before handing over to French competitors who crossed over to Calais in the host country. The flame will make its way to Paris, where it will be used to light the Paralympic cauldron during the opening ceremony on Wednesday. Meanwhile, Swayam India, which is the official accessibility partner of the Paralympic Committee of India for the Paris Paralympics 2024, is ensuring barrier-free stay for athletes and making their transportation accessible. The partnership includes comprehensive access audits of hotels and buildings, ensuring the para-athletes' comfortable stay with zero inconvenience. Speaking about the support from Swayam, para-table tennis player Bhavina Patel said that Swayam has helped athletes with accessibility by providing them with special vehicles.
जैसे कि मैं बताऊं कि स्वयं का बहुत बार ऐसा ही होता है कि वो मतलब मैक्सिमम सपोर्ट देते हैं। स्वयं इस तरह से काम करता है जो पैरा एथलीट है और ख़ास करके जो व्हीलचेयर यूज़र्स जो है उनको जो व्हीकल जो प्रोवाइड किए जाते हैं वो एक्सेसिबल होते हैं, उसमें रैंप वगैरह लगा हुआ रहता है, जिसके वजह से पैरा एथलीट को इजीली मूव करने में, जो व्हीलचेयर यूज़र्स रहते हैं उनको मूव होने में बहुत मतलब दिक्कत नहीं होती है। तो और उनका जो सपोर्टिंग स्टाफ भी है वो भी बहुत अच्छा है, वो हेल्पफुल है, तो ये स्वयं की सर्विस भी बहुत अच्छी है।
मेरी बहुत सहायता करी है, क्योंकि हम जहाँ भी नेशनल खेलने जाते हैं और कहीं भी हमें ट्रैवल करना होता है वो हमें एक्सेसिबल वैन्स वगैरह, बस कार बसेस वगैरह सब वो प्रोवाइड कराते हैं। तो मेरी स्वयं ने बहुत हेल्प करी है और आज भी मैं अपने घर से यहाँ एयरपोर्ट पे स्वयं की कार से ही आई हूँ, तो मुझे बहुत सपोर्ट करते हैं।
Well, Indian para-badminton player Mansi Joshi is upbeat about her chances for the Paralympics. Set to appear in a maiden Paralympics, she is confident and thanked the Indian government support in uplifting para sports in the country. In an exclusive interview with DD India's Abhishek Prasad, take a look.
So call her an engineer or an advocate for the rights for people with disabilities or a world champion. We have with us Indian para-badminton player Mansi Joshi with us. Mansi, this time a large contingent of Indian para-athletes going to the Paralympics. So how do you see this?
I feel honored. I feel like everybody is going together this time, so it's like almost a half of a flight together. It will be great. I think it will be fun.
How's your preparations in particular for this?
My preparations have been at the top. I've been working very hard for this game since last 1.5 years. Asian Games, World Championship all together. So satisfied with my preparation.
You have been an advocate for the rights of people with disabilities. So how important is to support this cause?
I think para-sports or Paralympics as an event, a multi-sport event, opens up a lot of opportunities and doors for people with disabilities. And this is, because this is a multi-sport event, many people will, and all eyes are on para-sports right now. So I think it creates a lot of awareness, a change in mindset of people. And especially in a country like India, where we see women, for parents of girl child who have been very protective of especially people with disabilities, I feel it's an opportunity for everyone to go out and play a sport, be fit, and I think being a person with disability, being physically fit is our first priority.
Last question, how do you see the support of government and Swayam India, that is the accessibility partner?
I think Swayam India is doing a great job. In terms of government support, it has been incredible. I would like to thank Sports Authority of India, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Paralympic Committee of India, and actually everyone for the support.
From losing a leg in a fatal accident to becoming an inspiration for all para-athletes, Mansi Joshi's journey is nothing less than a roller coaster ride. At Paris, her eyes will be set on a gold medal. With cameraman Uttam, Abhishek Prasad for DD India.
And now we take you to the East Indian state of Odisha, where the world-renowned sand sculptor Doordarshan has created a beautiful sand art with a message of kill the evil on the auspicious occasion of Krishna Janmashtami. Enjoy these visuals. All right, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch